All right, just gonna have a little fun in this video today and talk about celebrities that treasure hunt or use metal detectors. It's a pretty long list of names here. Some might surprise you. We have everything from famous film stars to comedian to an astronaut and even country music stars. So stay tuned and we'll get right into it. All right, we get started back in 1939 with the famous film actor Errol Flynn. Back in '39, he was very famous. He was involved in a couple different treasure hunting ventures and grub stakes and prospecting, and so he was into treasure hunting. 30 years later, we had John Wayne come along, and John Wayne was involved in the Oak Island and a bunch of other ventures that he got into. He really had treasure hunting in his blood, and I know for sure that he had visited Oak Island several times and invested a lot of money into trying to find that treasure. All right, how about Dan Aykroyd and Dana Carvey from Saturday Night Live? Yeah, the comedians. So Dan Aykroyd has been seen metal detecting by several people in the past. In fact, one person went on the forums and posted that he was out metal detecting and Dan Aykroyd walked up to him, asked him if he could swing his metal detector, and he was on it for 30 minutes. So that was kind of cool. Dana Carvey has been seen at bottle digs in San Francisco a couple times, and he's known to be a collector, buyer, seller, trader of old Western bottles. So a couple names there for you. And it's pretty well documented that Bill Wyman from the Rolling Stones has been a treasure hunter and a metal detectorist for quite a while now, and he gets out probably more than anybody else on this list. He's probably the most serious, dedicated metal detectorist out of all of them. So Bill Wyman from the Rolling Stones, I'm sure when he's not on tour, he's out swinging a machine. And Sterling Marlin, the retired star of NASCAR, he gets out there and swings a metal detector looking for Civil War relics a little bit here and there. And the most fascinating story and person on this list has got to be the astronaut Gordon Cooper, who reportedly would be up in space orbiting the Earth in a spacecraft that was equipped with some very high-tech, secretive surveying equipment. And he would use it in the water to look for shipwrecks. Here's a little clip about that real quick.
Gordon Cooper, the astronaut, went up there. He was in outer space and he could see, or there was a 55-year-old treasure that was seen from space.
Well, when Gordon was practicing to be an astronaut, he befriended a bunch of treasure hunters in the local area, one being Kip Wagner. And when they were practicing zero buoyancy, that's how he had met Kip Wagner. They would go to the ocean and practice diving and all that. He became really good friends and started a partnership with him. And he worked with the Relic Corporation, and they dove on shipwrecks together. And that's how he got interested in it. In fact, he brought a bunch of coins from the 1715 fleet off the Treasure Coast up into space with him. And he had the idea, well, while I'm up here, I might as well see if I can identify what I would assume to be shipwrecks. And he knew the Spanish thoroughfare, so he had that well mapped out in his head. And then he just wrote down coordinates, and he also he knew which islands he was flying over. So when he got back to Earth and got his accolades for his space flights, he put together a sea chart and then marked all the areas that he suspected there might be shipwrecks. And he put together a sea chart, and that was the sea chart that was part of the show, Cooper's Treasure.
And Bill Paxton, the late great actor who starred in the movie Tombstone, one of my favorite movies of all time, has been out detecting with him and some family members, been seen several times, very active metal detectorist, treasure hunter. And that brings me to a couple of really famous dudes that metal detect together, and that's Hank Williams Jr. and Kid Rock. So Hank Williams Jr., living in the South and being really into the Civil War stuff, he's a collector of cannons and everything Civil War, firearms, cannons, you name it. And he gets out there and metal detects right alongside Kid Rock. They get into the Civil War camps and find bullets, and they just eat it up. The guys love metal detecting those Civil War camps. And here's a little video clip of Hank talking about some of his ventures and some of his collection.
Mother and Daddy's house where I grew up is just down Franklin Road where all this started. It's 1950. And there's nobody out there. At that time, that was way out in the country. So when it rains, here comes little Hank Jr., a little 8-year-old boy. When it rains, there's all these bullets laying there in these little tunnels and things and buttons. And good gosh, that's how it started. I thought, wow, what is this? And I found some guys that, helped me out, and, Battle of Nashville, battle blah, blah, blah. And then we go down the road toward Martinez, and we go over there, and here's half of a spur, here's bullets, here's the ramrod from a Springfield. I said, here, give these to your daughters, they can take them to school today, See, this stuff is out there, but if you aren't from that generation that was, teenagers then that had access to all these places, now all these huge $1 million homes are sitting up there. Well, that stuff is still in the yard. Oh, yeah. We dug up an artillery shell, a 10-pound Parrot one day under a lady's window, right? She said, you mean I've been riding lawnmower over that for years? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, dig them all up. I really like to get their attention when they think, oh, God, look at this guy guitar player. Hey, what the heck does he know? Well, what y'all find today? Oh, well, here's 25 bullets, and here's a button, and here's a sewing kit, and here's the cannon primer. And we were, in fact, yesterday over here looking at some farmland in Dover that we have gotten permission, and that was a really big battle at Fort Donelson. And we've got about 500 acres we're going to find something. We're going to find something when we find where they camped over there. And that's how you find it. You've got to know where they were at, where they camped, where they moved. And then you got to know what you're digging up instead of, well, what's that? That's no good. Well, you just threw away the primer that fires the cannon. I've seen lots of people that had those, and they throw them by the tree, and they look like something that's trash. And I said, that's the primer that fires the cannon that's right here on your property.
All right, so there's my short little list of celebrities that metal detect or treasure hunt or dig bottles. So if you know somebody else that I forgot to name, another celebrity, go down in the comments and leave the name so we can all see who it is. Also, let me know if you've ever ran into a celebrity out while you're metal detecting. And as always, I answer all my questions down in the comments as well. Appreciate you guys hanging out and watching the video. We'll catch you next time. Thanks.